I'm Mike.
And I'm Matt.
And this is The Coin Show. On this episode of The Coin Show, Matt tells us about POW scrip. We talk about hard money in the early United States, and we talk about the coolest thing to walk into Matt's shop this week. But first, the news. The news is brought to you by the American Numismatic Association. The ANA will be celebrating 75 episodes of The Coin Show, and many more to come at the National Money Show in Atlanta. Stay tuned to hear how you can congratulate Mike and Matt on their milestone podcast, and how you could win a prize by just signing their congratulations card. Matt, world gold prices were down overall for the year 2013, ending a 12-year run of year-over-year gains.
It's been good. It's been a good run.
12 years, man. I mean, it's like if you bought at the beginning of the year and you sold at the end of the year, you made money every year for the last 12.
For 12 years, yeah.
Till last year, yeah.
It's down big, though, this year, or over this year, I think.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, is CoinNews.net has published a page that has the annual performances for London bullion over the last 13 years. And starting at the year 2000 and ending in 2013, you can see how it's gone up $3, $66, $74, but it's gone up steadily. And then over the past 5 years, you got 120, 200. You know, in 2008, when everything kind of crashed a little bit, it still went up. It went up $28.50 for the year. And then it went up $230, $300, $164. Last year it went up almost 90, and this year it dropped almost 465.
That hurts.
I mean, that's 27.79% loss.
Yeah,
that's tanking. Now,
silver also can't be any better.
Yeah. Silver also saw a large drop last year, losing almost 35% of its value year over year. But it's still twice what it has been historically. You know, yes. Silver is still $20 an ounce. And, you know, any time it's over $6, it amazes me. So, you know, I can see $12 silver. I still can't see $20 silver.
One of those things. I mean, this whole last, especially after 2009, I mean, getting up to almost $50 there, it's almost hard for me to see $12 silver. So hopefully It goes back the other way, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't think I'd count on that. I think that things are starting to normalize, if nothing else. And you know, I don't really care if it's up or if it's down. I just kind of like to see it stay relatively steady. That's what I'd like to see.
Yeah.
You know, not all these big spikes, the volatility in it, we could really do without.
Well, but that's where people make the money, though. You know,
that's where people make the money.
Or somebody buying or somebody selling in a very large quantity. So.
Yep. And that's the only way that you make money is on it going up and down. And, you know, that it seems, at least with the dealers that I know, that a lot of them have made a great deal of their profit in buying and selling bullion over the past 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I agree.
The rare coin market is kind of, it hasn't disappeared, but it's really shrunk. And so much of this stuff is just selling bullion.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I agree. I mean, I agree. I would say completely because, you know, probably half of my business is bullion these days, bullion or scrap gold jewelry, directly metal related stuff. So
Hopefully,
I definitely can see that.
hopefully things will turn around a little bit and you can get back to your career as a rare coin dealer rather than as a bullion broker.
Oh, well,
But you know what?
I've always enjoyed the rare coin side of it. But
Yeah. But whatever makes money for you.
yeah,
Whatever makes money.
keeps the lights on. I always say.
That's right. I just want to see your kids fed, go to college.
Me too.
Yeah. 2014, we'll see the release of the new 20 for $20 coin from America's Neighbors to the North.
Okay.
This year's coin, 2014, features a Canadian goose.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. The 20 for 20, no moose, it's a goose. And, geese are very, they're very symbolic of Canada.
They're also very angry creatures.
Don't mess with geese, man. Now,
I
you know
know.
what?
Let's get
I have a
anywhere
soft spot for geese because geese are community creatures. Are you aware how geese kind of take care of their own and how they take care of each other?
Vaguely.
Yeah, I have a soft spot for geese mostly because I have a group of friends and we kind of consider ourselves a flock of geese. That's, because geese always stick in pairs. If one gets separated from the flock, another one's always with it. They nurse it back to health and then they help it back to join another flock. Things like that. I mean, they're just kind of community-oriented birds. And I just...
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I like what they do. Now, I like this coin because it's reminiscent to me of the 67 Canadian Centennial dollar, which also had a goose on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I used to carry one of those as a pocket piece.
Really? I never knew that.
Yeah, 1967 $1. All of my friends, I told you, we consider ourselves a flock of geese. I gave every single one of my friends a goose dollar. And it's kind of like our challenge coin. So whenever we get together, it's like, you got your dollar? If you don't have it, you got to buy.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So,
that's pretty awesome, Mike. I like that.
Yeah, we were never in the military, so, we had to figure out some other way of doing this. So, another really interesting foreign coin is the Australia 2014 Sydney New Year's Eve fireworks holographic coin.
Oh, cool. I'm sitting there looking at a picture of it.
Yeah. That is a cool-looking coin. And
that is pretty neat.
It's got holographic fireworks. This 999 silver coin features a color hologram of the annual New Year's Eve midnight fireworks display over the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Now, something for our listeners that they may not have in the top of their mind is that January 1st is the middle of summer down under.
Yeah.
So this is kind of it's their 4th of July. I have friends that live down under in Australia, and it's funny because they tell me that they can't think of Christmas without going to the beach.
Wow.
Yeah, and as you and I sit here in 15 below cold weather, we'd love to be at the beach.
And a foot and a half of snow.
Yeah, it's ugly. But, so I like this because fireworks are holographic. And the bridge and the rest of the coin is, yeah. And I just think that's neat. Let's see, what's it selling for? It's going to be limited to a mintage of 15,000 pieces, but the commemorative coin would be the first in a 10-year series to be released on 1st of January every year.
They're $120 Australian, which is about
$120 Australian,
which is about even exchange.
Okay, so I mean it's a 1 ounce coin. Pure silver. I think this is more of a, flashy, got to have it bauble than it is, than it is bullion, obviously. But a cool coin. It's like Canada does stuff really cool every once in a while, somebody else does.
Yeah, I like this one. I think this is a neat idea.
Yeah, and hopefully they come out with some new ideas and they prompt the U.S. Mint to kind of get on this train.
Yeah.
They're using technology in different ways, and each of these mints are pushing each other, and I like that. I like the competition. I like the daring each other to, hey, look what I got, look what I did. I'd like to see the United States Mint get into that.
Yep, I agree completely. I think that definitely new technologies are something they're exploring. So maybe we'll have a holographic one before too much longer.
Yeah, because to be honest with you, our newest venture or foray into the technological coin striking was the enhanced uncirculated last year, and the enhanced proof this year, which are cool coins, but they don't have quite the the cachet that color would bring to it. And I just think that'd be cool. Let's see. The 2014 America the Beautiful Quarters Proof Set is now available.
Wow, is that the first release of 2014?
It is the first release of 2014. On January 2nd, they released it. They wasted no time. Now, we get to play our favorite game because this year's set features quarters honoring 5 national parks. And I'm going to ask you if, well, it doesn't matter because on your copy of it, I didn't put what states they're in. And so I'm going to ask you, see if Matt can figure out where these are.
All right.
Great. First quarter this year, Great Smoky Mountains National Park.
Okay, I've been here. Tennessee.
Very good. Okay.
I've been there. So
that's pretty close to home, too. Yeah. Shenandoah National Park.
Shenandoah Battlefield is what I'm guessing that is. And I'm thinking that's somewhere in the south. Let's say Georgia.
It's Virginia.
Virginia. Okay, I was close.
Virginia. Yeah. This one you should get with no problem. Arches National Park.
Arches is it's out west. I'm not going to get it, no problem, because I don't live out west. But Arches. I want to say something like Idaho.
You're close. See, my first thought at Arches would have been Arizona, but it's Utah.
Utah. Oh, I was
Utah.
close.
Yeah, it's all in that Grand Canyon region area, that stuff. It's Arches. The Arches were formed by wind erosion and lake erosion and that. Cool looking coin too. This one I don't think you're going to get in a million years.
Yeah, go ahead.
Great Sand Dunes National Park.
Sand dunes, huh?
Great Sand Dunes National. See, I saw sand dunes and I immediately thought of the Indiana Dunes. Have you ever been there?
Yeah, we have dunes
Indiana
in Indiana,
State Park?
and I have, but I don't think. Yeah, I don't think that's it.
No, that ain't it.
I have no idea. Let's just throw out a guess. I don't know. Colorado.
Good guess. What did that take you that long to Google it? No,
really? Did I get that?
Great Sand Dunes National Park is in Colorado.
No, actually, I was thinking of the state that's least likely to have
you nailed
sand
it.
dune.
Alaska. But they already did that.
Well, that was the one deciding between. So that's fun. That's hilarious.
That is home of the A&A, right there in the middle of the sand dunes in Colorado Springs. Yes.
The cold sand dune.
And this one's a gimme. Everglades National Park.
Everglades is in Florida.
That's right.
That's easy.
I told you it was a gimme. Now, the sets are available for $14.95.
I did pretty good.
You did great this year. Actually, you got 3 out of 5.
Yeah, that's like I usually get 1 out of 5. So
to be honest with you,
one was zip line.
But I don't know if I'd have done any better. That's I can't fault you for it. It's a tough thing guessing these national parks sometimes.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is Illinois is going to be one of the last ones. It's the state I live in, and I can't even tell you what the national park is. We only have one.
Yeah.
We only have one.
Well, then that's probably
that will be it. But I don't know what the name of it is. Yeah. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Now the sets are available for $14.95 each, and this is new this year. The U.S. Mint is offering a 10% discount to subscription orders on select products.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting.
Now, that's not going to be on everything, and I would assume that, that's not going to apply to the gold or any of the bullion or the silver proof sets. But for the clad proof sets and the clad quarter proof sets and probably the presidential dollar proof sets and anything that doesn't have a volatility element attached to it, they probably, will include those with that. But yeah, 10%. That's nice.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
That's not a bad idea.
2014's commemorative coin programs will feature two designs for the United States.
Mm-hmm.
We talked a little bit about the Civil Rights Act of 1964, and that coin is now available at a maximum mintage of 350,000 coins across all options, proof, uncirculated, period, all of them. Okay, and later this year, the National Baseball Hall of Fame 75th anniversary coin will become the first U.S. coin intentionally minted in a concave convex design.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited about that.
You know, I think that the only coin that could have ever done that with is a $50. One that there's absolutely no danger that anybody will try to spend. Try and put that one in a vending machine.
Yeah. You'll blow up the vending machine.
You're gonna have to. Well, you might be able to put it into Dennis Tucker's vending machine at Whitman. You've heard about that one, right?
Yeah.
Where he puts in the shield nickel and he gets a couple of 3-cent pieces out and change. But the 75th anniversary Hall of Fame coin is limited to 50,000 gold coins, 400,000 silver dollars, and your favorite, 750,000 clad half dollars.
That's a lot, but I still think that's going to be a coin that people like.
Do you think it'll sell out?
I think it will. You know, being America's pastime and all.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think that they're counting on that broad appeal. And I mean, look at it. There's a million. What is it? Almost 1.5 million. No, exactly 1.5 million coins is what they've authorized on this.
Yeah.
Versus the Civil Rights Act, which has a maximum of 350,000 coins. And finally, in the news, the presidential dollars of 2014 will feature President Calvin Coolidge, Warren G. Harding, Herbert Hoover, and FDR.
Getting there. We're almost done. Come on, baby.
We're almost done. Yeah. Mintnewsblog.com, my favorite Mint News blog, has an article which features the line art for the coins, if you're curious to see what they'll look like. And there are only 2 years left in this series, period. 2.
Hurry up.
Next year and 2016. Now, personally, I think that these coins fly just enough below the radar to be worth collecting.
It's possible. I mean, especially as we get into the presidents that people may remember, you know.
Well, here's the thing, and I've mentioned this a couple of times before. It is the oxidation factor of the golden dollars, I think, that is going to make these collectible. Because pristine gold coins are going to command a premium. It's going to be like a red penny. And I really think that's what the high-end, or collectors are going to chase the high-end coins in this. The regular uncirculated, anything, it's like Susan B's, anything below, MS-65, nobody cares about.
Yeah.
But the high-end stuff, the stuff that's slabbed really high-end and the stuff that's gold pristine, I think are going to be well worth collecting.
Yeah, I agree with you. I kind of the train of thought I was on, though, is as people, like I bet the John F. Kennedy dollar is going to be huge. Everybody loves Kennedy. So
yes.
That's kind of where I was at. But, yeah, no, I agree. Because these coins do tarnish so fast that finding nice, pristine ones is going to be tough.
And I agree with you on the Kennedy. I think that the Kennedy one, apart from, like, the Founding Fathers ones, because Abraham Lincoln was, I think, by far the most popular one.
So far.
Washington was the first one, and so people had to kind of catch up to it. And so Lincoln was kind of set in the middle of the set, and people liked it. And, yeah, so far that's created the biggest stir. Kennedy, I think, is going to create that same kind of stir.
And I actually think Ronald Reagan might even create a bit of a stir.
It would, but the problem is they're not going to get to him.
Why not?
President Carter's still alive. And as long as President Carter's alive, they won't do it. They'll end the series at President Ford.
That's unfortunate.
Well, I think Jimmy Carter thinks somewhat differently about that, but, I agree with you. I think that if they were to make a Reagan dollar, it would far and away blow all the rest of them as far as, people would be buying boxes of the rolls of that coin.
Yeah, I agree.
They'd be putting stickers on them just like after Obama got elected.
Oh, I remember those.
The traditional Royal Mint now presents the Ronald Reagan Freedom Coin Series. See Ronald Reagan in his greatest moments. Watch him signing tax cuts. Watch him fighting Congress. And watch him blow up the national debt.
And knock down the wall.
Yeah. Tear down this wall. Yeah, there you go. Ronald Reagan. Yeah. So, there's plenty of time. There's plenty of time for Reagan Memorial coins. And I'm quite certain that there will be because he, for a guy who really had a hard time getting elected, he sure has become an awfully popular president.
Yes, I agree.
You can find these and other news stories from the coin world on our website at coinshowradio.com. Just click on News on the top bar for our RSS news feed. Matt, the guys over at ANA have been very, very kind to us over the past year, and they've been really generous with us. And they wanted to congratulate us on 75 episodes, this being the 75th. Honestly, I never thought we'd make it past 3, but
that's true, man. Really.
Honestly,
has it been 75?
It's been 75 episodes, dude. This is 75. Yeah, it's been a little bit under 4 years, and 3 million downloads.
3 million, really?
3
million. I don't check it very often.
3 million.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
That is a lot.
Now, if only we had $1 per download. Wait, what?
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I'd take 10 cents a download. So
that's true.
So on behalf of the ANA, the Coin Show listeners can come to the National Money Show in Atlanta, which will be held when, Matt?
March 1st.
February 27th through March 1st.
I don't know why I wrote down just March 1st.
Yeah, they can come to the National Money Show in Atlanta, and they can sign a card congratulating us on our 75th show, and they'll be giving away a free copy of American Numismatist by Paul Hollis and other assorted door prizes to anyone who signs the card.
Really? Oh, my.
And by signing that card, they'll also be entered in a drawing for a turn in the cash cube. You remember the cash cube?
Oh, I wanted it there. That thing was
so all the people that sign the card, they're going to draw a name from it, and they're going to give one person a shot in the cash cube just for congratulating us.
Well, that's really them.
That's
really
really nice.
That.
Not only is their generosity going towards the people that, been given to the people that go to the Atlanta National Money Show, but the ANA has told me that they want to give away 2 free memberships for this episode.
Oh, this episode.
So, Matt,
awesome. Yes, sir.
This episode, how are we going to give away 2 free memberships to the ANA?
Jeez, I don't know. That's a good question.
See, because it behooves you to be a member, because at the National Money Show, ANA members get in free.
They do. They do get in free.
And they get in 30 minutes before the public on Friday and Saturday.
And that can be a real benefit, actually, honestly, because, if you get to the right dealer's table 30 minutes before anybody else does, you might get to see the coin that you've been looking for before it gets scooped by somebody else.
All you got to do is get there before somebody else does.
Yep.
And every advantage that you can have, it's what you should.
30 minutes is huge.
30 minutes is huge. That's a lot of negotiating that can be done.
That's very true. Or a lot of bewilderment that can happen.
Yes. And you have an opportunity, if you go to nationalmoneyshow.com, you can sign up and you can give a Money Talks presentation.
Really?
They have a proposal form. Yes, you can fill it out. You can say, I'd like to give a talk on X. And, say, just for example, Rick Snow decides he wants to give a talk on Indian Head Sense. God, they'll be beating down the doors for it. But they have a proposal form. So if you have a specialty in a coin, share your knowledge, share your love of something, and, help everybody else out. So, American Numismatist by Paul Hollis.
That's
free
an awesome
copies
prize.
to anybody to everyone who comes.
Everyone that signs a card. Boy, I hope they got a big card.
We'll be giving away a free copy of American Numismatist by Paul Hollis and other assorted door prizes to anyone who signs the card. And then by signing that card, they'll be entered in a drawing for a turn in the cash cube.
Any idea where this card's going to be?
I
want to sign my own card.
It will be at the National Money Show in Atlanta at the ANA booth. All you got to do is go to Atlanta. You can sign your own card. Or you can just wait until you get it in the mail.
Then I'll sign it. Yeah, there you go.
There you go. There you go. But
that sounds awesome. I really wish I was going now.
So how we... Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be cool. The weather's going to be great. It's February in Atlanta. Are you kidding me? February in
Yeah.
Atlanta, 60 degrees. It's beautiful. It's warm outside. You get to shake that coat
Stop
off.
it.
Get rid of the snow. Okay, sorry. So how are we going to give away? How are we going to give away two free A&A memberships, Matt? How about the first two people that email me, Mike at CoinShowRadio.com?
And say, I want
First
it.
two people
First
say,
two
I
people.
want a free A&A membership.
And it's
We'll give it to you.
yours. Boom.
First two people, absolutely free. You get a 1-year online membership to the A&A, and you get a 30-minute head start on everybody else that gets to the National Money Show. You can sign the card before anybody else. You can check out the show, and you can have a good time.
That's awesome. Great idea.
So thank you very much to the A&A. And, like I said, get to that National Money Show. Go to Atlanta. Enjoy the weather, but more importantly, enjoy the show. Matt, we as coin collectors are interested not only in coins and money, but it seems lately you've been kind of exposing us to things that have been used for money that aren't necessarily money.
Yeah, I kind of, when I'm trying to decide what I want to talk about each episode, sometimes I get on a kick. And lately I've been on kind of a scrip kick. Last episode we did the coal mining scrip, and this episode I didn't necessarily want to go there, but that's kind of where my brain took me this episode. So I wanted to talk about the POW script that was used during World War II.
Well, you know what I like about this, and I think is really interesting, is that you don't really think about the fact that they needed, the POWs that are in the camps over in Germany and all these other places, they needed means of exchange. And just as anybody else does in situations where things are scarce and short in supply,
Yep.
You just kind of make do with what you got.
Yep, that's exactly right. Then the reason that this got started was to really just accommodate the massive amount of people that were captured during World War II. And prisoner of war camps were really established all over the world. And more often than not, actually, these camps had their own forms of currency. Now, during wartime, especially in a war as massive as World War II, there's always a need to detain massive amounts of people, whether it's an enemy combatant or just somebody sympathetic with the enemy. If they need to be held,
you can't kill everybody.
Yeah, if they need to be held prisoner, they were. So to accommodate all these people, prisoner of war camps were established all over the world. They were very well organized. And like I said, a lot of them had their own currency that was produced by the camps. Now,
I wonder if they have POW script at Guantanamo.
I don't know. That's a good question. I would assume not, but it's possible.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what it is, isn't it?
Kind of, sort of. Yeah. We're going to get to that. But I think...
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of you.
No, and that's fine. But I think the guys in Guantanamo have... they don't have the same attitude towards those guys as they did during World War II. Now, during World War II, there were tens of millions of soldiers and non-combatants that were interred by both the Allies and the Axis nations.
They interred non-combatants?
Yeah, oh yeah, we did it in the United States. We interned people of Japanese descent.
Yes, we
in
did.
the United States.
I had forgotten about that.
Which are non-combatants. So it did happen all over the world. And even in neutral countries like Switzerland and Ireland, they set up camps for soldiers and refugees that really had nowhere else to go.
Wow.
Yep. There were also camps in places like Kenya, New Zealand, and also, of course, United States and Germany. And the Japanese even kept POWs on ships, believe it or not. So,
well, you'd think they'd have kept them on one of those remote islands.
Well, they did a lot of that too.
Yeah.
But there are stories of them even holding prisoners on ships.
Wow.
Yep. And there were all sorts of different people detained in these camps during the war. You had enemy combatants. You had non-enemy aliens, which were kind of like the Japanese that were interred.
Yeah.
And you also had nationals that were deemed to be a threat. So even your own people that you thought might be working for the enemy were detained. Merchant marines and civilian air crews have also were captured during the war.
Well, at least it was a much more how do I want to say, humane way of dealing with all the problems that we have with people, was just to kind of round them up, put them in jail someplace, and then you make huge swaps for people afterwards or whatever.
Yeah,
it's
pretty much.
probably a really practical idea.
Yeah.
But in those camps, I'm quite certain that there was trade going on of some sort.
Yep, and we're getting to that right now. Now, the capturing countries were responsible to give these people places to live, but also to keep them relatively healthy, I would say, along with, housing, medical quarters, and general work to keep the prisoners busy.
Right. And that was a direct product of World War I.
Yes. Yep.
That's and exactly the Geneva Conventions.
Yep. And in these camps, because of those conventions, there were also canteens. Canteens were a place where the POWs could go purchase various products, such as sweets and socks, even.
See, I never thought of POW camps. I always thought of them kind of like as a jail.
Yeah.
And I mean in the strictest sense, it's a prison, where it's like, you line them up, you feed them, then you send them into a cell, but they really weren't quite much like that. They were more like communities, weren't they? Communities,
yeah, because, at the point where these guys were captured, especially a lot of the Europeans, the Germans that were brought back to the United States, they were kind of almost living in dormitories with a lot of other Germans. I don't know if I've mentioned it a lot in the other episodes, but I also collect military collectibles. And I have some POW art that, that was stuff that was made by the POWs. They carved wooden airplanes and stuff like that. You see that a lot. So,
I guess they had a lot of time on their hands.
Yeah, it wasn't just jail. Okay. So, they could go to
That's just my naivete, Sean.
Yeah.
That's,
So it wasn't, they could go to these canteens and buy all sorts of things. And in the Japanese camps, prisoners needed camp tickets to even eat. And the smallest, even most temporary of camps, a lot of times had these shops. Now, another thing that was used as currency relatively often were cigarettes. But when they weren't using cigarettes...
Or in any prison.
Yeah, well, that's true. But when they weren't using cigarettes, canteen script was usually the medium of exchange for items. A lot of times they were printed on very low-quality paper, and sometimes even made by the prisoners themselves.
You say sometimes. My initial thought is that I would have thought most of the time you're saying that a lot of these were issued by the captors.
Yeah, a lot of them were issued by the captors, not necessarily produced in the camp. But some camps, they would actually have the prisoners do the work to produce the script. So, they would even put the prisoners to work to do that. Now, the money, the script at that point was actually rationed out by the camp authorities. Sometimes they would get paid script for doing, work. So sometimes they would get paid script for doing, work around the camps. A lot of times that work would support the war effort for whichever camp they were in. And each camp would have its own unique script because it really needed to be worthless in case of escape. So, you couldn't, have inmates going from one camp to the other with the same kind of spendable currency.
It reminds me, as you tell me about this, it reminds me a lot of, stuff that was going on in United States currency at the time.
Yep.
Because, the money, the silver certificates that circulated in Hawaii were made with special brown serial numbers and a brown seal and a Hawaii overprint on them. Bills that were made for North Africa had blue numbers but gold seals on them, and they were made for that exact reason, to be able to just absolutely demonetize them in case they were found in the wrong place or that they fell into the wrong hands.
Yep. That's exactly right. And the cool part about the U.S. stuff is that a lot of the U.S. script that was issued was really simple. A lot of times it just contained text and a serial number. I had one from Excursion Inlet, Alaska, which was at the time the only one known.
It was where in Alaska?
It was a camp called Excursion Inlet, Alaska. And
Excursion Inlet, Alaska.
Yep, and this was a camp that where the prisoners were put to work loading transport ships. So they would get paid scrip for doing stuff like that. Now the German scrip in the period, some camps would have a scrip that depicted the kind of work that the prisoners did, such as a picture of a large factory, or a man planting a tree even. Yep, and then the Japanese meal tickets or script were often kept by POWs, and each day had 2 boxes representing a morning and an evening meal. And then for each meal, a box was punched, or a hole was punched in that box to represent that they had been given that meal. Now, each of those tickets had a serial number and the prisoner's name and their room number. And an interesting piece came out of a Japanese camp called Santo Thomas, which was in the Philippines. And the 1942 meal ticket from that camp, the entire menu for the month was displayed on the back. And on Thanksgiving, the POWs were offered whale steak. So,
okay.
Yeah.
And all the blubber you can eat.
Pretty much. Now, there really are just hundreds and hundreds of different issues from all around the United States and the world. And that's just from World War II. There's script back into World War I even. Now, there are a couple of books out there, actually, on script, which is kind of cool. They have listed Schwann and Bowling's World War II Remembered, and then Feller and Feller's Silent Witness, Civilian Camp Money of World War II. So if you're interested in this topic, those might be a couple books you could go out and pick up.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I never really thought about it until you kind of mentioned it. I think about POW camp. They'd have to have some sort of trade, established within the camp.
Yeah.
And, what better way to do it than with script?
Yeah, and that's exactly what they used.
When the United States was in its infancy as a country, people's attitudes about money were really different from what they are today.
Yeah.
Money back then was something of value that could be used in trade. Typical coins of the time were traded by their content and their raw metal value. Mm-hmm. The country of origin on a coin was only really important in how trusted the source was for the content. What mattered more would be what it was, how pure it was, and what it weighed.
Yep.
Spanish mill dollars and their parts were legal tender here in the United States until 1858. And the issuance of coinage by the U.S. government was really not done to establish monetary authority, but was done to assay and refine newly mined deposits made by the citizens of the U.S. In the very first days of the mint, the U.S. government bore the cost of minting coins. And the reason was pretty clear. If I could go down to Joe down the street and he'd assay my gold and issue me 99% of what it was worth, what incentive would I have to take it anyplace else?
Not much, yeah.
Right. So the U.S. Mint began assaying and coining gold and silver for people at full face value. They had made themselves the preferred depository for gold and silver by doing that. Now, this attitude is 180 degrees different from what it is today, so much so that I want you to think about this. A silver dollar literally had a dollar's worth of silver in it. Mm-hmm. A $5 gold piece was $5 worth of gold. Now, cent coins were pure copper, they were heavy, and they weren't legal tender in large amounts. Buying and selling was pretty much done largely by barter with precious metal.
Wow. Can you imagine if it was like that today?
I know. That's what I mean. It's so just directly opposite to the way that we think. What I find is that as we explain things, we're like, well, these got melted.
Yeah.
And these got melted. And this is why things got melted, was because everything really, it wasn't about what was stamped on it.
Yeah.
It was about what it was.
It's easier to go out and buy this stuff from people to recoin it than it is to dig it out of the ground.
Yep, absolutely. Now, the idea of free coinage of precious metal has its advantages and disadvantages. And if coinage is thought as a lump of metal rather than a coin with a value, then as metal prices fluctuate, then my coins will become worth more or less than face.
Mm-hmm.
And if I have ready resources to melt coinage, I could take a silver dollar or gold half eagle that's overvalued and melt it, and then turn in the lesser amounts of metal to be recoined into new, lighter weight coins. So fortunately, the precious metal market wasn't really volatile in gold and silver in the early 1800s.
No, not at all. Really?
No, it was pretty flat. Now, the United States Mint was mandated to operate on a bimetallic standard with standard coins in silver and gold at fixed ratios. And in my opinion, it was the link between the fixed ratio of silver and gold that would doom the practice of hard money in the early United States.
I agree.
Gold coinage was relatively regular from 1795 through about 1804, with quarter eagles being minted through 1808 and half eagles being the most minted gold coin. Now, the fact that the coins held their entire intrinsic value was causing silver dollars to be exported and melted almost as fast as they were made.
Yes.
And this is why President Jefferson halted their coinage in 1804. That's why 1804 there are no silver dollars, and from there for a while. Is because of the difference in the value between silver and gold and it being law that they be fixed. So the largest coinage from 1804 through the 1830s was cents and half dollars. And these are coins that readily circulated and still exist in really good supply today.
Mm-hmm.
A general lack of metal supplies dominated the next few decades, and mintage figures during these years are low. During these times, people resorted to paper money and tokens, as well as using Spanish silver coins, which were still legal tender. The introduction of branch mints happened in 1838 for a few reasons, but the primary reason of where they were established is due to the fact of that's where the hard money was being mined.
Yeah, that's where the gold was coming out of the ground. Yep.
The first gold rush happened in the eastern U.S., in Georgia and North Carolina and other parts of Appalachia. The U.S. Mint opened branch mints there to make freshly mined gold into gold coins. In fact, I've mentioned in my fun facts that the Dahlonega, Georgia, and Charlotte, North Carolina mints only coined gold coins. They never made any silver coins, and by law couldn't strike any minor coins.
Yeah.
Yep. New Orleans was one of the U.S.'s largest ports and places of export, and the U.S. Mint set up shop there as well, but coined mostly silver coins at that facility.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I find it interesting that not only did the U.S. Mint compete to assay and coin the fresh ores, but they set up shop close by so that no potential middlemen could get involved.
Yeah, it was easy. It was easy to go
Right.
down the street and sell it rather than having to ship it across the country like they did there for a while. So
they figured that the best way to make it into coin of the realm was to be right there at the doorstep. Now, in 1848, gold was discovered in California, and the San Francisco Mint was soon to follow.
and then all heck broke loose.
Yes, it did. And the discovery of the Comstock lode spurned yet another branch mint, this time in Carson City, Nevada. And not surprisingly, they minted mostly silver coins at that facility. So it really appears that if metals are readily available, they tend to circulate locally as money.
Yeah.
And people of that time, at least in their minds, equated metal and money. They were the same thing. They were part and parcel of each other.
Yes.
Patterns of coinage circulation also support this idea. You'll see that at the time, mints made the majority of coin for their area. Most Western coinage needs were filled by the San Francisco Mint. And if you think about the California gold rush, you'd understand why most of the preferred coins of the day there were gold. It was plentiful. You know, little silver coinage was made there in proportion because people had a ready supply of gold, and they preferred it to silver. Now, as people's preference for gold over silver developed, it became apparent to the mint that the reason was because gold was undervalued in relation to the silver. And in 1834, legislation was passed to help rectify that problem. The Act of June 28, 1834, reset the legal gold to silver ratio from 15 to 1 to 16.002 to 1.
So that, adjusted for inflation.
Yeah, well, actually, it was adjusted for a little bit different reason, and it's not quite as obvious as you'd think. It made the silver dollar slightly premium to a dollar's worth of gold.
Oh,
And so
trying to boost the
basically what
silver.
it did was it made the silver circulated. It gave people a reason to use the silver coinage. And that same act also slightly lightened the gold coins and reduced their size. So, if you pay attention to Gresham's law, which says that good money will always drive out bad money, basically what you're doing is you're taking bad money, which was the silver at the time, and you're making it into good money in the hopes that it'll circulate. And I mean, during this time, we needed every coin that we could, muster because the metal supplies are short and, there's not a lot of transporting of coin from one place to another.
It's hard.
Things like that. It really was. Well, I mean, travel just didn't happen like it does today.
Well, and I mean, millions of coins are a heavy thing to move. It's not like, throw them in a wagon and bounce them down the road. You have to fill up ships and trains and move these things across country.
And when you move them across country, you got to worry about being robbed and all these other things that are going on. So, I mean, the moving of money just didn't happen all that much, and the U.S. Mint basically set up shop in any backyard that, would produce a lot of metal.
Yep.
Now, in 1836, the silver coins received a slight adjustment in their weights, and this allowed for the reintroduction of the silver dollar in 1838. Other legislation in 1837 would standardize gold coins at 900 fine. Because prior to that, they were actually made in 89 point something fine gold. It was weird.
Yeah.
But I think it would make more sense if you just think about the weights that they worked with and the technology that they had available to them. But by 1838, the refinement of it became a definite process, and they were able to make them much more precise. And they
Simple
standardized.
process.
Silver. Yep, silver was 900 silver and 10% copper, and gold was 900 gold and either some mixture of silver and copper or just copper.
Yeah.
Over time, adjustments had to be made to the weight of coins in order to keep their value from exceeding their face. In 1853, the weight of silver coinage was lessened. Now, in the world of hard money, lighter coins means less metal, or as I wanted to name this segment, "Do these arrows make my coin look fat?" And the U.S. Mint placed rays on the reverses of the half and quarter dollars and arrows beside the date on all silver denominations to denote the new lighter coins. As would be expected, this set off a fury of melting most of the older silver coinage that was existing at the time. And the rays were left off after 1 year, but the arrows were used for 2 years after the change.
Most people just think it's a design change and not necessarily indicating anything on the coin. So, yeah.
And this leads us to, talk again about this has to do with people's attitude towards money back then versus money now. People see a coin now and it says 1 dime. They think, okay, 10 cents. Back then, they saw a coin. They were like, okay, how much does it weigh?
Yeah.
How worn is it? How much metal is it? So it was also during the 1850s that the end of hard money appeared on the horizon. By the end of the decade, copper nickel cents would replace the heavy large cents, and the half cent would be scrapped altogether. The 1860s would see the birth of the nickel, quote, nickel, copper nickel cents, the 3-cent nickel coin, and eventually the nickel 5-cent piece.
Nickel.
Yes, nickel. Coins were devoid of intrinsic value were creeping into the U.S. coinage, and the public was actually starting to use them. And that I see as like, that's the bellwether right there. That's what tells you the end is nigh.
Yep.
Now, hard money took its hardest blow yet in 1873. It was referred to as the crime of 1873. And it's a huge event in American history. It was caused by the deliberate move of the United States government to demonetize silver.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
And it was done for many reasons. But the fact of the matter is that by this time, most of the world was basing its money on gold or the price of gold. And the large ready supply of silver was starting to create havoc with the U.S. bimetallic ratio. And by the act of 1873, demonetizing silver, it placed the United States on a de facto gold standard because it left gold as the only legal money in the United States. Now, oddly, it took another act of Congress to make it law, and the U.S. would finally officially go on the gold standard in 1900, which is what the rest of the world had been on for decades.
Yep, and that only lasted until 1933.
Yes. And to finally put a very long story out of its misery, in 1933, when FDR banned domestic gold ownership and reserved all gold to the government, hard money completely disappeared. Now, since then, all money in the U.S. has been a promise to pay, backed by the full faith and credit of the United States of America, rather than actual physical money. And as late as 1964, when silver finally arose in price beyond the face value of our silver coinage, the days of hard money finally ended as the U.S. started minting copper nickel-clad coins, and people culled the metal out of our coinage, leaving us with what survives today.
And it's fun, and it's actually funny because today people are starting to look at the copper pennies, the pre-82 stuff, because they have, I think about 3 cents worth of copper in them. Now,
it's
obviously,
Gresham's law at work.
Yep. Now it's illegal to melt the coins, of course, at this point. But I do know several people that are actually hoarding these suckers for that exact reason.
Well, I was going to say that it may be illegal to do it, but there's ways around that. And like I said, this is Gresham's law at work again, because you have something that's worth more than face, it's going to get driven off the planet.
Yeah.
And it's going to disappear.
Yeah.
And only the stuff that, is worth, well, it used to be that stuff that was worth what it's worth would be okay. Now it's the stuff that's worth less than what it's worth.
Yeah, a lot
is
less.
the only stuff that kind of, yeah. And to think these days, we wouldn't dare to use actual gold to buy anything.
Yeah.
But 200 years ago, most people wouldn't accept anything less.
It's crazy how things change in 200 years.
Yeah. Just a skip in time. That's it. But that is, how the attitudes of hard money have changed. And that's why so many of these coins got melted. And, it makes such perfect sense when you think about it from the standpoint of, well, yeah, if I have a $10 coin and it's got $12 worth of gold in it, and I can melt it, take
I'm gonna
part
melt
of the gold and have my $10 still, and the other, I'm definitely going to do that. That's a profit-making, machine.
Yeah. So,
and that's what happened to most of our coinage.
I really enjoyed this one, Mike. I did. I liked it a lot.
Well, thanks. I like I said, I thought that this one was special, and I thought that for a special episode, it would really be a treat. Matt, I like to keep track of all the cool things that walk into your store when you post them on Instagram. But this week I didn't see anything because it's been, it's been snowy and nasty and bad.
It's been snowy and nasty and the holidays in there, during the middle of the week.
But you know what?
Kind of made it hard to get on a roll.
But you know what? I would be more than willing to bet that some very, very cool stuff walked into your shop at Christmas time.
We were really busy, actually, the couple weeks before Christmas. It is always a busy time of year for us. As people get down to crunch time and need money, they start digging around for things to sell. And, we did buy some really neat pieces. This last coolest thing was a raw $3 gold piece. It was in 1855. And the coin was pretty nice, actually, so we went ahead and sent it off to PCGS to have it certified. And the coin graded an AU50, which is not a really super rare coin, but it's just nice to see a nice, no-problem $3 gold piece come in the store, because so many of them are counterfeit, so many of them have been made into jewelry. So it was kind of nice in this crazy week to see just a nice, higher-grade $3 gold piece.
A $3 gold piece is a really nice size for jewelry, so I would assume that, a lot of them ended up with bezel marks and ended up with damage from being made into jewelry.
Yep, a lot of them went into bezels. A lot of them were polished and turned into love tokens. I've seen all sorts of crazy stuff done with $3 gold pieces.
But you know what I like the most about $3 gold pieces, Matt?
What's that?
The reverse.
The big three and the wreath.
It's the wreath.
Yeah.
And it's because the wreath ends up showing up again in coinage.
Oh yeah, it got used on lots of other coins.
That exact wreath got used on the Flying Eagle cent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That exact same wreath.
And then they put a shield on it for the Indian head pennies, and about the same wreath.
Well,
except with the shield.
that one's a laurel wreath, and the one without the shield is a laurel wreath. The one with the shield is an oak wreath.
Wow!
But if you look at the reverse, if you look at the reverse of the $3 gold and the reverse of the Flying Eagle cent, and take the denominations out of the middle of them, they are exactly the same.
Huh? I learned something new.
See?
You're a smart feller, or a fart smeller.
I just read. I am. I'm a fart smeller, and I read a lot of books. That's
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, it wasn't anything really special this week, but that just to me stood out as the coin that was the coolest thing this week, because you just don't see them come in raw very often in high grade. I mean, when they come in, usually they're certified, or they're really low grade, or they have major issues. So
well, they're either certified or they show you exactly why they're not certified.
Yeah, exactly. So
and for one to come in raw, I mean, is it possible that somebody cracked this out of a slab at some point, or just probably never circulated?
It was out of an old collection that the gentleman had passed away, and his kids were selling the coins. So it was a nice fresh coin to the market, and I was happy to buy it. I was happy.
You always are.
I like to buy stuff. What can I say? I'm a connoisseur of nice things, and I like nice coins. So when nice coins walk in the shop, I have to talk about them.
So you're a kind of sewer for nice coins?
Yes.
We'd like to thank our contributors, the Facebook friends, Twitter followers, people who wrote to ask questions or in some other way inspired us. Our thanks to the great folks at the American Numismatic Association for their support. Visit them at money.org. The new website is coming, and I can't wait for the new money.org. You also need to go to nationalmoneyshow.com. Check out the Atlanta show. Go if you can. Our thanks to Tony Alvarez and the Tony Alvarez Band for our theme music. Visit them at TonyAlvarezBand.com. We'd also like to thank May Otley for our bumpers. Her site is hannahmayotley.wix.com/portfolio. And a big thanks to our intern, Taylor Webb. But while those people are important contributors to the show, their importance absolutely pales in comparison to you, the listeners, without whom this entire endeavor would be completely pointless, and it'd just be Matt and me talking to each other.
And who wants to hear that?
I certainly don't. We love our audience, and we love our audience contributions. Send us your thoughts. Email us at Mike or Matt at coinshowradio.com. You can also ask us questions. Send a question to questions@coinshowradio.com. Visit our webpage, conveniently located at coinshowradio.com. There you will find Matt's articles or my book reviews. On the book review page, you'll find links where you can purchase them on Amazon.com. Purchase them today. We also have pictures and bios if you're interested in knowing what we look like, or if you want to create internet memes, dartboards, or just want to make fun of us. You can also visit our listener map, and there you can place a pin in it and show us where you live. Our winner for the contest for Beth Deischer's Cash in Your Coins, selling the rare coins you've inherited, is David McConaughey, who told me that if you go to cashinyourcoins-book.com, you can purchase Cash in Your Coins, selling the rare coins you've inherited, Making the Grade, and the Coin World Almanac.
All three books that are in your personal library, right?
You can also find all three of them on our book review page, but that wasn't the contest. Like us on Facebook. Come and comment on one of our posts or post something of your own. Just try and keep it coin-related. Follow us on Twitter. You will occasionally find some exclusive content there as well. You can find us or even mention us in your discussion. We are at The Coin Show. If anyone has noticed, we have been posting a new coin fact every day on Facebook and Twitter, just for your edification. We also have a new page on Pinterest, where we'll post pictures of the cool things that walk into Matt's shop and other coin-related pictures. You can find us there. We're also The Coin Show. If you don't see the newest pictures, email Matt at coinshowradio.com, and ask him where the new pictures are. You can also listen to our show on Coin Talk, as well as other coin forums. If you'd like to host a player on your website, just email me for details. New contest this week. First 2 people that email me wanting an ANA membership will win an ANA membership courtesy of the American Numismatic Association. Thank you to them for their generosity and their support. If you have an Android phone, we have an app for that, and it's available on Amazon.com for only $1.99. Downloaded a couple of million times. We also have a Windows 8 app available in the Windows 8 app phone store. And as always, our show is available for free on iTunes. We urge you to download our show and share it with a friend. More people are finding us and sharing our show every day. Be the first one to hear each show, and you'll look like one really savvy collector. I didn't get a laugh this time. Okay. So for The Coin Show, I'm Mike.
And I'm Matt.
And he's laughing. And we'll talk to you next time on The Coin Show. We would like to thank our contributors, the fake book friends. Yeah. We'll have to find some place in there. Ronald Reagan coin set.
Enhanced with pure platinum.
Yes. Layered in 24 karat gold.
In 100 mils.
Wasn't the coin gold?
Pure 24 karat.
4 karat. Yes.
Gold.
It'll an icon that you will be proud to pass from generation to generation.
Official U.S. Mint coin.
Yes. Okay.
We should work for them.
Yes, we should.